previous video, which was about the case study on Varsha Banglo, the NV effects and the non-local experiments. So before this, I started in 1993. Uh, Initially, my curiosity, I was very curious. I was a curious child. Then I became serious and then started collecting data, interpreting Swamiji's hypotheses, experiments, trying to figure it out, what he said, what is applied in the current context. But before that, I will take you to one more my experience. Then in 1992, when I was doing a construction work in ashram, and I was wearing a blue jacket, kind of the engineers wear like t-shirt. I had taken it from Mr. Sangogi, one of our seeker who used to work in Bajaj company. And suddenly I got a message from Swamiji that, and I was invited to attend his lecture. So I just went there and attended the lecture. In his lecture, what he said is that, which helped me later on. I don't know what was his purpose by then, but now after 30 years or almost 31 years, I realized that he was going to teach me the the existence of non-local process and how the brain plays a role into that. Okay, what he said is that in that lecture is that, see, I'm sitting here in Lonavala. I mean, me means Swamiji, and the information come to me from everywhere. What happens is that my brain filters that information and draw the conclusion and then make the predictions. Because of my sacrifice, meditation, and all these things, my mind applies a lot of filters, and which gives me more and more clarity. So by that time, I could not understand these things. But eventually, after 20 years, in 2013, I published a story on how Swamiji could predict accurately, with 99% accuracy, Bombay blast of 1993. And I'm going to make a study on that event also, because that is one of the very unique case study for the scientists globally to study about the terror events and how the mind can communicate and access to information. So, coming back to my study of Varsha Bungalow and its peripheral space, in 1993, Swamiji had published that what's going to happen with the then CM, Sharad Pawar. And his prediction came true that Sharad Pawar is going to resign as CM in a very insulting, defamatory manner, and what he did in 1995. And in 1992, when Balasaheb Thackeray and Manoj Doshi had come to meet Swamiji in ashram, and Swamiji had welcomed Manoj Doshi by saying, "Oh, welcome the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra," to Manoj Doshi, which I was there. Anand Purohit, Swamiji's secretary, was there, and some other people were there. So, what happened is that what happened is that when I was studying after 1995, that how this Swamiji study is relevant in the context of Manoj Doshi as the occupant of Varsha Bungalow. खाली बसून जा कॅमेऱ्याच्या मध्ये नका. Sorry for that. So I started working on that, and I realized that I tried to calculate the cycles of NV from 1995 to 97, 98. But I published first article in 1996, and I visited Varsha Bungalow twice or thrice, and my mind started accessing the information non-locally, and I realized that something is going to happen. So I started noting down the things, And I realized that Mr. Manodoshi is facing envy issues, but I was not sure about it, how to draw the conclusion. So I studied more and more. And what happened in my case is that when I was traveling across the Maharashtra, and I was not in contact with Manodoshi, or I was not even having any dialogue personally there, I was not visiting Barsha Bungalow, I was not even talking to them. I was just corroborating the evidence of my knowledge, previous knowledge, Swamiji's case studies, and what exactly is happening with the Manodoshi in general, in public life. And I'm trying to connect the dots. And somewhere in 1997, I realized that this man is going to be kicked out of in very insulting manner. So what happened is that I met his son, Unmesh Joshi, in his Deccan office in Pune, and then I told him that he is going to be kicked out as very insulting manner because of the envy effects and because of this non-local uh, study. This is a non-local case study, and they could not understand this language. But anyway, somehow I came in contact with Balasaheb Thackeray, and then I published in Software magazine, which was published by Sanjay Nahar in Pune, and I was editor of that. So I published a case study of Varsha Bungalow, its effects on non-locality and all these things. And then Manodoshi went away, and then the Rane came in. It happened with Rane also, and then it happened with Vilasra Deshmukh and Ashok Chauhan, and then on and on. So totally, it's Swamiji and my both case studies of almost 22 chief ministers. It's almost okay. Uh, so what it indicates? There are three, four takeaways from this case study. One is that you need to do a sacrifice for society. Your intention should be very pure. The third thing is that your mind should be trained, and your brain should be able to filter the information is coming to, because it's a non-legal thing. When it strikes your brain, the brain applies different filters, and this is why not all the people experience same thing, right? So what happens is that you can access the non-local information by providing these conditions, but at the same time you have to also collect the data empirically, that what is going to happen, how the evidences sorry incidences or events or what are happening regarding that person is affecting his mind, his health, and all these things. Before Sharad Pawar, Swami had published his case study, and I was very close to that case study, Sudhakar Naik, how Varsha Bungalow effect is going to affect his health, and how he's going to get out of that bungalow, peripheral space, which I called. So, my fourth takeaway on this is that if you go on, if you do meditation, if you follow the rules of non-locality, if you study little bit quantum mechanics, little, I'm not asking you to do the hard mathematics problems and issues. You don't need to be. And fortunately, the Indians who are mostly my viewers, or if they listen to me carefully, and across the globe also, that we all experience these things. We all are taught from the. That's our culture. Is the human race is non-local. Is the evolution proves non-locality. How animal communicate to each other from distance. How human race communicate to animals. How one race to another race communicated to each other without any physical contact. I mean, the non-locality principle proves the Darwinian concept. Okay, so my point is this, that these are the takeaways, and I will continue to talk about this non-locality in different contexts. I will also publish some case studies, and it is good. Let's take the another video, make another video on this subject, other non-locality, and how you can use this non-local experience and knowledge in your day-to-day life. Okay, I will come back to in the third video about this subject to teach you how you can access information, knowledge, and how can heal other people remotely, non-locally, and how non-local things affect your mind and how to filter them. It will make your life more decisive, more predictable, more certain, more happy,